welcome back. I'm Vic, I'm a cosy mystery author, and this is my series that I started a week ago to document my process to publishing my first book as an indie author. So this is week 2 of my project proof copy, where I'm sharing the two sides of the indie author coin. One, the making of the book, the creative process, the writing, and the other, the financial side of it and reality of the production costs, because as an indie author, I front all the costs. And I thought it would be useful to share in a slightly longer format on YouTube the reality of this journey, particularly because I am a chronically ill mum and my income is currently made up of various, I guess what could be called side hustles. So I wanted to share what's working, what's not working, what I'm trying, what's going well and what's going less well. So let's start with what went really well this week, and I'm really delighted to say that it's actually, I guess, the most important thing, the reason we're here, and that is the book. And I managed, to my utter amazement, to write 10,000 words this week. So my draft is now currently sitting at 90,000 words. That's way more than I initially planned. I'm actually a discovery writer, so I write with broad plot points, but I don't write to a predefined structure. I find that blocks me. So I'm not entirely surprised that the draft is expanding, because this is a cosy mystery, so obviously I have the story, the mystery of the book, but I also have a cold case subplot, and I have a slow burn romance in it, and also this is book 1 in a series, so there is a series arc. So I'm actually feeling okay with leaning into this draft being written a bit longer, and then as I go through the series of self-edits I do before I pass it on to an actual editor, I've no doubt that some of this will be cut back and the writing polished, and that usually reduces the word count as well. So that was what went really good with writing side, and I guess for next week my plan is to continue that. I would really love, and this is an ambitious goal, to have the draft finished to a level where I can start my first phase of self-editing, which is listening to the full draft through on the computer, and then do a round where I send it to my Kindle and read it through the Kindle, and then I do a full print out. And hopefully by that stage and those rounds of edits, I'll be able to put a simple version up on KDP and order myself a proof copy and be able to show that. So this feels quite exciting. But the other side of the indie author coin is obviously income generation, and as I chatted in my last video, my first video in this series, I've basically got a patchwork of various what would probably be called side hustles, but for me, because of my illness, they're really my available income streams. And this week I've been trying to focus on which of these sources of income, potential sources of income, are actually the most effective for me in terms of return on investment. So how much time and energy I'm putting in terms of how much income they're allowing me to get back, how much I can put towards a book, and how much energy that's leaving me for writing and the other sort of behind the scenes tasks that need to be done to move towards publication. So I've kept on eBay, which is my main kind of driver, because I'm currently trying to really declutter. As a mum, I have lots of things as my kids grow and they grow out of things, but I've also historically had a problem with overconsumption, particularly of clothing. I used to sell vintage clothing, so over the years I have been in this cycle of accumulate, declutter, resell, reaccumulate, and so on, and I'm really trying to break that. So I do have lots of things to upload, but anyway, this week it was quite a slow sales week. I had a couple of sales, but it was about, I think it was £21 came into my account this week, which is not a great amount, but it's sales. I have a number of items being watched, I have a bid on another item, and I have probably hundreds of things that I need to upload. Now obviously I'm not going to do all of those over the weekend, but I've got 13 or 14 items in draft that I want to get up over the weekend, and hopefully that will boost the algorithms or whatever, and I'll get some more sales. And most of the things I've got to upload are things that I think people will be looking for at this time of year, because I've got lots of books, toys, winter clothing, things in really good condition, things my kids have had but not really used. So I'll keep my fingers crossed on that. And I spoke last time about some of the other things I was trying, like online surveys and so on, and again, I've not really done much on that this week. And the other thing that I'm trying to build up, rather than those sort of little online ad hoc surveys, is my Substack, and to add a paid tier of essays to that. And I didn't get to that this week, but given the progress I made with the book, I'm okay with that. On the less good side as well, I had some unexpected costs this week. As life is life. I had to replace my phone, which is never ideal. And I had got to a point where I was no longer in a contract. I've had to go back into a contract. So that was a bit frustrating, and obviously adds to the mix of things I'll need to kind of try. And there's been other things like birthday parties and things my kids have had that have come up, and we are now, 6 weeks till Christmas, and towards the end of the year. So yeah, I think for next week I need to do a bit more prioritising. I'd love to get to that first round of self-edits with the book, and I would love to have the paid tier of my Substack set up, and possibly an essay or two on that. I have the essays that I want to put on the paid tier, again, sort of broadly sketched out. My Substack is much more focused on being a chronically ill writer, and particularly being a chronically ill writer with endometriosis. So there's a lot more on that side of things. It's a deeper dive. There's more of the kind of emotional mindset, identity issues that come with having to leave a career, having to adjust to being ill, and having to try and find a new career. So I'll put the link in the description to that. There's currently a free essay there that tells you what it's about, to my eBay and things as well. So yeah, I hope this series will prove to be interesting. I'm also hoping that I will be able to invest in a microphone and maybe a ring light, or record on my phone a bit more now that I've got a new phone. I'm getting used to using it, and the quality might be slightly improved of these videos. Now, the other thing is this channel, and obviously it's very, very early days, week 2, but I'm going to do a separate video and a separate series on starting a YouTube channel at 46, and how that is going as well. So if you are interested in the YouTube journey, then the next video is for you. Okay, I hope everyone's well, and I will see you next week.